what happened. I went a command center and then another command center and then got units. You're delaying the amount of units you have for so long. You need to protect them as much as possible. That's why you get your bunkers. Even with the 5 force shields that were placed, he was able to take advantage of his opponent. Yep. And you saw 6-Gate was able to just build order counter, what Drewbie was doing. Nice probe scout. Earns him the game. All
right, so we see game number 3 already loaded up and ready to go is the Antigua Shipyard for the WCS version. Drewbie versus Attero. The winner of this will advance to, I believe, the final 4 of the WCS winners bracket. Yeah. And, of course, if you win one more series past that, you're guaranteed top 3 and guaranteed I think it's $1,500. I believe it's $1,500 for third. But of course, we have to verify that once everything gets settled out. That said, the map has loaded, Andre. Let's get ready to go into game number 3 on Antigua Shipyard.
Okay, so one really quick thing. You know, before this, I would actually joke all the time. It's like, no, what are you talking about, man? $1,500, you should be, like, saying in Canadian money, which is like $1 million Canadian money. Did you know I just found out that $1,500 US is $1,500 Canadian?
Everything is it 1-to-1, really?
It's like it's basically 1-to-1. It's like 0.98 to 1. Everything that's been told to me is a lie.
They just charge everything more in Canada, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, man, every book. I always look at the back of every book, and it's like, wow, everything costs a little bit more in Canada, so.
Yeah. Isn't that such a shame? It's 1-to-1. The U.S. dollar has diminished ridiculolously.
Third place gets $900 in a paid trip. Second place gets $2,250, and the first gets $6,000.
Not bad, man. 6K.
Not bad at all.
Wah, wah, woo, wah. And you know who's more than capable of getting to those positions? These 2 players. Not just players, players.
Players?
Players. Playas. Do you know what playas?
I remember when they spelled playas for the first time, I was taking Spanish class, and I thought they spelled playas. So I was like, you're calling these guys beaches?
Beaches.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Hijo de beaches.
Hijo. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Son
Language humor. You've entered a new realm, Andre.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Andre does speak fluent Spanish. Well, like, mostly fluent Spanish.
No, I don't. I don't.
His girlfriend teaches him Spanish. I'm taking Korean classes for the start of season 4.
Cool.
You are too. I'm letting you know now because you probably haven't found out until now.
Did you book me?
Yeah. I'm not even kidding, dude. I didn't book you. Morgan did.
Morgan.
Apparently, it's a thing that we're all trying to do. We're all going to try to learn Korean together. I think we're going to try to film it and do like some kind of silly segment where like
that's awesome, dude. I love learning different languages.
Well, yeah. I mean, you spend all day asking your girlfriend how to do it. Oh, the game has resumed. And we see that Drewbie and Attero are still playing. Yeah. Oh, can Drewbie and Attero speak another language? Can they speak French at all?
Drewbie can, I know. Attero might be able to.
That's right. Drewbie is the pink Terran in the bottom left corner who's been around since beta. He made a lot of splashes back then, but the landscape of the game, the meta game has shifted so much since then. And, I mean, Drewbie hasn't really done anything too impressive since then, but he is one of the co-founders of Ro8, still leading that team very nicely, and Ro8 is one of the most beloved teams in North America. That includes myself.
I love Ro8. I love everything about them.
In the top right, we have
cats.
I love cats,
I love
too.
Rotterdam. TT1's okay.
TT1's all right. I really enjoy like the play, the family atmosphere of Ro8. It's really nice. But I also really like Attero as well. He's just a really cool guy. I love just the fact that he's here and he's able to make a name for himself again, because of these players that show up to MLG. It's really hard traveling, even just from Canada to the US, because of travel costs and whatnot, so they don't get that many opportunities. And to see Attero this far into the bracket is really cool.
Yep, I've played with Attero a couple times on ladder. He is a very, very strong Protoss. More the standard style players, though. You know, I think his 6-Gate was actually a reactive 6-Gate. Obviously, it was a reactive 6-Gate, if you guys saw it before. Everything about his play was right last game, and the first game was a little bit shaky. It's actually hard to make those calls. I mean, obviously we have a bird's eye view, and we're like, oh, well, going third base from here isn't correct, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, overall, he still played that really nicely. I think 95% of Protoss would have played it the same way, too. Nevertheless, Attero is just fast expanding and going into single gas right now, not actually putting down the second gas. There it is. There it is, second gas. So he's choosing to do second gas before any sort of additional gateways. That's something important to note.
If this was MC, I could almost guarantee that it would be 2 more gates and a Robo. And then a Twilight Council.
Did you say MC?
I said if it was MC.
Really?
I would almost guarantee it. I mean, this is pretty much a kind of a standard timing for gas for Protoss, because it gives you a little bit more flexibility to drop that Robo and then play a little bit more reactive and safe based on what your opponent's doing. We'll have to see how Drewbie's going to try to go for it.
If this is like MC in GSL, then I would say yes, but if it's MC in NASL, it would be like Twilight Council, Robotics Facility, Dark Shrine, and 2 gateways.
What
you know?
what MC does from Attero's position, he drops 2 gates, drops a Robo and a Twilight Council, goes for fast lane, controls the map, and really shut down drops. But it depends a lot, I think, on what he scouts from Drewbie, because we've seen that Attero's been playing pretty nice. I mean, he's really active with his observer, always keeps track of his opponent. There it is, a Robotics Facility's dropped. But I think this is where Attero's going to differentiate a little bit, because he's shown a little bit more dependence on the Colossus, I feel. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him gas up from this point and try to see if he can tech towards that Colossus army.
I mean, obviously, Attero is one of those players I was always saying that plays really, really, really standard. And part of playing really standard is actually stabilizing your third base with Colossus. A lot of players have been doing that. I guess the more hip thing to do these days is to actually rely on gateway units and maybe even tech up to high Templars really, really fast. And, you know, Attero just hasn't changed into that stage yet.
I believe by the sound of that, Ret has won his match over puzzle. It is absolutely deafening.
Is it really?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I can definitely hear it, but what's more important is that the Stalker's going to get caught by the Marines as well, and Attero never dropped the force fields necessary, which was good patience. A lot of Protoss feels kind of greedy, but there was no spot which Attero really could have trapped those Marines, and it was a phenomenal play indeed. Now you can see Attero is going for a quick Immortal, because he's going to try to play safe. But look at this, he drops a really delayed Twilight Council, and I think it's based off what he saw again. This is really cool from Attero, but what do you think this means here from our Protoss player?
I think it's... Oh, actually I have no clue. I don't know what this is. I don't know the purpose of this Twilight Council forge thing. It actually really confuses me, because I think this dies to a lot of different pushes, and just standard play, I think. Getting a quick third actually beats this, because it's like you're the jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
You don't get high Templars, you don't get Colossus. Normally you need one of those to actually stabilize.
I think he is going Templars,
there it
though,
is
he?
But yeah, this is super delayed, though.
Oh, he is going Templars.
Yeah, this is super delayed in that, obviously, you want the Robotics Facility first. I guess what actually saves it is you only want 1 forge instead of 2 forges, but if you're going to do that, you want to get your forge super, super fast. That way it enables you to stick on 1 forge for a long time.
Yeah, and Drewbie's playing pretty straight up. He's going for, combat shield stim. That's very standard what we see. But this time, Drewbie's not going for a quick Ghost Academy like what we see in the previous games. He's playing literally the most straight up Terran I feel like you can at this point. And he's going to have a pretty nice window of opportunity, because Attero's trying to get charged at the same time. These are going to be very big windows, about 2 minutes, where Drewbie can pretty much have flexibility to do whatever he wants, because Storm won't be ready, the charge won't be ready, if he chooses to yacht on it. But I'm really interested to see how Attero moves out from this point.
You know, I think Attero, I don't know if he knows this or not, but Drewbie gets the double add-ons. That does affect the medevac time by about a minute, and all these upgrades will hit around 12 minutes as well. So I think what he's saying is, well, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that my opponent doesn't have the ability to actually push out with those medevacs fast enough. I'm going to go ahead and do these things that aren't normally, safe, but because he delays his tech so much, he can't get up into my main base. It is, in fact, resilient to everything that my opponent can do. I'm going to get straight to high Templars and just surprise my opponent. He will probably push his opponent as well. No, there's a +2 timing which you can do, which does something sort of like this, but I think he might just go with +1. I'm not sure yet. I'm just theory crafting from here.
No, I think you're onto the right track, and I think as long as Attero gets that time, which he really prioritized with that Storm, Drewbie kind of just sat back and really macroed. He's starting double upgrades as well, which is really good considering there's only 1 Forge of Attero, and he's not keeping it constantly pushing upgrades. But then again, we've seen Storm is really preferable to an upgrade style because Storm ignores upgrades, and you can just add AoE, and as long as you can get the units weak enough, Stalkers and Zealots can 1- or 2-shot the units, and you'll have a really nice opportunity. Now, Drewbie is going to try to go for a double drop, and the Observer's just going to miss it as well, so this is great maneuvering here from Drewbie, and depending on how well Attero spreads it and how he responds, it can change everything. That one cannon's in a pretty decent spot, and he's trying to put up a couple more. 2
medevacs are spotted in the bottom right-hand corner. That'll help out with the Stalker positioning. In the meantime, of course, Marine Marauders are going to town on the Disrupt the Rocks, as you were saying. I think Attero holds easily from here. Like, I don't see... he has a micro blunder if he wants to mess this up. Because just the power of the High Templars are too much. And he can basically do whatever he wants. He can push out into the middle of the field. He can probably attack his opponent, seeing as how many High Templars he has out, and considering how many Ghosts are out.
And Drewbie just wants to threaten, delay the third. He's getting his Ghost Academy up, and he needs time to get the EMPs up to really deal with the Templars. We can see Drewbie does know that Attero's intending on taking a third. It's just, it's only a matter of time before Drewbie starts his own. As I say that, he begins his own as well.
Now, here's the thing. I mean, you normally need like 1 Ghost for every High Templar that your opponent has or is capable of. That sounds crazy, but like, especially in this early game stage, you need to be able to have enough to snipe out High Templars. And also EMP. EMP is so freaking important because you don't want the Zealots taking that much damage. So I think just the fact that so many Ghosts are needed, he still won't be able to keep up with Attero's current build. I mean, Attero's build is perfect, I think. It's countering Drewbie perfectly in that you get the Tech Labs, and Reactor all at the same time. And obviously your tech is so far behind.
We might have a potential clash coming in soon. Storm has been prepared for a long time. Those High Templars are almost full of energy. The Charge Dodge trying to get initially started the battle, and all of the units are clumped up, and he's trying to wait for it. You can see the Marines and Marauders are stemmed.
No feedback.
But there's a drop in the main as well. Drewbie trying to rush into the scene as fast as he can to really eliminate anything.
And then in the natural as well.
Wow.
Drewbie is actually picking opponent apart.
Oh, he's targeting the Forges.
Wow, that will be huge because remember, it's delayed Forges, but no, he's going to disengage from that. Instead, his main force is going to go for that third base. The cannons will be picked off, and in the meantime, the main, oh my god, the Marines are cleaning up everything in the main base. All the probes go down. Attero doesn't realize that's happening.
Oh, he scans and he tries to dodge the storms as well. A great maneuver as well. Drewbie taking a huge work advantage, 19 to 57. Great three-prong aggression from our Canadian Terran.
Amazing play. I remembered seeing the 2 medevacs filled with Marines lift to this top. I just forgot to actually focus on it. My goodness, Drewbie is just he's out multitasking me at this point. And still those Marines are going to town on that Nexus inside the main.
God.
They're going to kill this Nexus.
That is silly. Oh my goodness, he's killed the base, and now Attero is forced to pretty much go for a huge attack and all in. I mean, he can't really hold anything else. He's just going to fall way too far behind. The good news is that he does keep a lot of his Templar up, but the thing is, Drewbie's been preparing Ghost this whole entire time, and as long as he can land a few EMPs, that's it.
That's precisely right. And he needs to get him on top of the High Templars, obviously. That's the most important thing because his army works in a ball fashion. He wants to stay in a ball because of the massive amount of Zealots that exist. So if he can get the High Templars, obviously, which are the turn from being a ball, then he'll win the game outright right here.
Oh
and
man,
I'm come up into it.
Yeah, I'm actually really.
Oh, good snipes, but too late.
I mean, that was a very nice storm there. Oh, but a High Templar wants to get some feedback on.
Okay.
He does feedback one of the Ghosts, and that Ghost actually, because he sniped, saved himself as well. Oh, and this has always been so devastating to any Protoss player. He has his High Templar trailing his army, and Drewbie kind of lets him go scot-free, but I think Drewbie just wants to play as conservative as possible. He knows he sniped a lot of the probes. He knows he killed the Nexus in the main. He knows he delayed a lot of important tech, and Attero's down to just 16 workers. His Marines are still working on Archon in the main base.
Brutal at this point. Absolutely brutal. Attero's trying to reestablish control over everything. His third base is just now starting to be mined up. Income tab showing 46 to 20 though. Now these Colossus will help out so much, and he's just right now hitting +3 armor. That'll help obviously quite substantially, but Drewbie, he just has so much stuff, man. Like, normally I would say, oh, this Colossus switch is perfect. He doesn't have a high Viking count, but the fact of the matter is he just has a lot of Marine and Marauder. And with good EMPs, he's going to be able to take out his opponent very, very easily, just because he has so much stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's just his army advantage is just huge, 130 to 90. Now, Storms can change everything with Colossus. If Drewbie, for some reason, is not paying attention to his army for a couple seconds, everything can change. But Drewbie is not... he's been prioritizing army movement this entire series, making sure that every single thing, every single movement of his troops is in preparation for his opponent. And I just love the fact that he's just dropping everywhere, dropping a third, pulling his army, now claiming center position, scanning constantly for observers. This is beautiful from Drewbie.
Yeah, I mean, Drewbie is just looking for the perfect engagement at this point. And look at this. Attero's backed up all the way to the edge. Now, you need to be careful. It's going to be feedback versus snipe EMP at this point. Zealots are going to just lead the way to try to be a spotter to catch those ghosts for the High Templars. But, oh, this is not good.
He wants to make sure to get the feedback, but the Observer does not get the match to catch everything.
Oh, EMP'd the Observer, by the way.
No, that's actually pretty cool. Oh, yeah, it reveals the cloak. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
You can
nice
do that.
Trick there.
You can do that when you have an excess of ghosts, which is not good for Protoss, man. Whenever you see Terran EMPing your observers, you're like, oh crap, he has a lot of them. That means.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely like a QXD kind of thing, like EMPing the observer and trying to snipe it. But you can see that another scan really identifies where the army is. Drewbie, because he knows where his army is, he could just drop in the main again. There's really nothing that Attero could do, and he could lose a lot of production. And Drewbie has a huge army. Oh my God, 151 army supply.
And the Vikings are just going up unopposed. Look at how many Stalkers there are.
He just wants to snipe the Colossus.
Yeah.
He doesn't even care about anything else.
He doesn't care about the Vikings.
And he's also bringing up the Ghost, trying to bring up the High Templar as well. And he snipes both the Colossus, trying to go for the EMPs. Drewbie has a massive army, a huge stim, picking off a lot of the Zealots as well. And this is just such an intimidating force. What can Attero really do?
There's nothing at this point. EMP goes off. The Marauders on top, over here in the top left-hand corner, are actually sniping out a couple of the High Templars. I mean, Drewbie is just monstrously ahead. Now stimming ahead, taking out the High Templars. This is beautiful. Drewbie just dismantling his opponent. And even when Attero had probably the best opening possible against what Drewbie was doing, there's nothing that he can do from here. 3-2 against 3-1.
Just way too much. The force deals of Attero while locking the Ghost also locked his army in. Good game and good luck wished by Attero. Drewbie advances to the winner's bracket semis.
Yeah, and remember, Attero isn't out of this just yet. He will go down to the lower bracket, but still, I mean, showing his worth and doing great.
Absolutely. So, guys, one thing I want to say as the last note is that I like Drewbie's patience and his focus on scanning. Like that's something that a lot of Terrans kind of try to ballpark, like, okay, this is what I can do and this is what I'm going to try to force. Drewbie says this is what I'm able to do and what I can activate. Like, this is what I can enact. And I think that was a really cool position game from Drewbie, taking slow advantages. And, man, that drop in the main did so much damage.
Yeah, I mean, the three-prong harass
was great.
Phenomenal.
Man, if he stopped that Forge and because he had 3-2, and then Attero would have been at 2-2, 2-1, yeah, it would have been fantastic.
Obviously, definitely fantastic. But that being said, congratulations to Drewbie. He's going to move forward. Attero drops down to the losers bracket. Make sure you stay tuned for all the future matches to come.
I think Idrin and Control are going to come back on and finish up a lot of the day. But then, guys, it's been fun, and make sure to tune in for not just this, but also other things like the CSL and NASL, which Huck versus Alicia should be coming up next.